Welcome back to Lucore Automotive Services. Today I'm working on a first-gen Mustang heirloom car brought into us for oil leaks, and we tore down the engine and sent it over to the machinist, and he's like, yeah, the cylinders are taper wear, and we really should bore it out to make sure that we're not just picking the customer's pocket, putting gaskets on a worn out engine. So we got the engine back. And it's time to assemble it. So that's what I'm going to be doing for the rest of the day. If you want to see what I do, stick around. Well, we're batting 1,000 on this engine. I was expecting there's an upgraded rear main seal on this engine. This has the rope seal in the kit, but I prefer not to use the rope seals because they always leak. They make a neoprene updated seal for this, and sadly it's not in this kit. So I have to wait 3 days because it's not in stock at NAPA, it's not in stock at AutoZone, it's not even in the catalog at Smythe because it's too old. And that's one of the problems with fixing old cars is you run into parts availability issues. Now, yes, I can put it together with the rope seal, but then I would end up with a oil leak, and then I'd have to take the thing back apart after I put it together. So that's not really what I want. I want to give the customer the best repair I can provide. And that's going to require another 4 days of waiting before I can put it together because the rear main seal needs to go in the block. Like right now. I can actually assemble the short block and leave the cap off and then roll the seal in, and that's probably what I'm going to do. But I have time constraints with this job, so if we're going to start putting it together, because the reality is it needs to get done. All these bearings have already been mic'd, so the bearing clearances are actually marked on the block. Uncle Bob McVeigh Motorsports over there has already done all our block prep. Everything looks really good. Our clearance numbers are all good. So let's wipe this thing down and we will drop a crankshaft in it. Block surface cleaned up nice. As nice as you can without taking off more than you need to. Should give us a nice good gasket sealing surface. Go ahead and wipe the bores down with some oil just to make sure they're clean. I always wipe out my cylinder bores because you can see all the extra machining dirt that comes out of it. This was the first pass, and that's the second pass on all three cylinders. So that's pretty clean now. And Marvel Mystery Oil will stay on there and protect the cylinder walls while I assemble it. Find my assembly lube. minor setback.
What's up?
The rear main seal in this kit is a rope seal.
Oof.
And they are available, but it's going to be probably Thursday before it shows up. So I'm going to go ahead and assemble the engine, and I'll just pull the main cap back off, put the seal in like I would if it was in a car.
Don't want to put a rope seal in it?
No, I don't want to put a rope seal in it. Horrible.
Put it in it, drop the trigger.
Right? Oh, like butter. Nice job. So now, Saginaw. Rings, I gotta ring my pistons. I need to check my ring end gaps. That's one. Snug. Cam sprocket, good. Let's get my piston assemblies ready. You can actually see the old pistons had quite a bit of wear to them. So they were pretty sloppy in the bores. Those are definitely worn out. 3 to 4 thou per inch. And 3/4. So we want to have 15 thou. Have 15 thou, so we are good. All 6 for our top rings. The ring goes in with the notch down. Oh, this is really exciting stuff. This is what it takes to rebuild stuff. It takes time, especially with unique stuff like this 200 engine. Parts are not readily available for it. Parts sourcing for this engine was by far the hardest part of this job. That's part of the deal. These rod bearings have already been installed, torqued, and measured, and I have to remember that because I don't want to be putting my rubby mitts all over those bearings. I want to keep them as clean as I can. Work. With my ring end gaps, we're not going to be throwing boost at this or anything, so I'm not going to open them up any. Give me a few minutes. I'm going to go ahead and load my pistons with my rings, and we'll start dropping our rings in, our rod piston assemblies in. Ooh, that was rough. Fought me the whole way in. This engine is before they used dowels. Amazing but true. The block was decked, the head was decked as little as we could possibly deck it and come up with a good surface. The sealing surface was really bad. Somebody had hit both surfaces with die grinders and made them very irregular. So they needed to be done. The bores were all jacked up. So this is a 60 over bore, final, honed in, and got all my pistons dropped in and torqued. I went and locked down my camshaft bolt and it locked the motor up, so I'm going to have to probably put a small shim in my camshaft sprocket to allow me proper clearance. But I'm going to go ahead and bolt his head down and I got to go for the day. Oh my lord, that thing is heavy. Ooh, that is slippery. This is why we like guides. Alright, now she won't slide around on me. So those two head bolts need to have thread sealer on the bolt threads. And one of those, probably that one, has a stud on it. I need to verify that. So I'm going to torque these head bolts down, and then it will be time to knock all my freeze-out plugs in, put on my water pump, and then put a coat of paint on the block, the short block assembly. And then I can put my front cover on and yada yada yada. So hopefully this engine will be all done, hopefully by Friday, and I can go pick up the car on Monday or Saturday. Probably Monday. I have too much stuff to do on Saturday. So pick up our car Monday, get it over here, start dropping this engine back in. Exciting, get it done. I always just go back through and double check, make sure I didn't miss one after I've gone through the pattern. So one step forward, two steps back, I tightened down my cam pulley and all of a sudden my motor was locked up. I'm like, uh-oh, I have a clearance issue or I did something wrong. And as it turned out, I did something wrong. I didn't see on the old cam, there's this little collar here. So I need to put this spacer into here, and that should solve my problem. Keep your eyes open. Lots of little bits go into these things. You put one in wrong, it creates all sorts of problems. So my rear main seal finally came in. If I can in any way avoid using a rope seal, I will avoid using a rope seal. Rope seals are horrible. This is a later updated seal. Ironically, I ordered one by part number, and when it came to me, it was a rope seal. And I was like, well, that stinks. That doesn't help me any. But cool. I can put it in there anytime. It's obviously easier to do this when the crank isn't in there. But that wasn't an option at the time. So we're just going to roll it in. So I will often, when I can, leave a rear main seal rocked just a little bit. That way all the gaps aren't aligned. I feel like it makes a better seal. I don't know if it does or not, but it's just the way I do it. Other people can probably do it a different way. It does not matter as long as it's in there and the lip of the seal is facing in. Put the lip of the seal facing out, it will leak. Alright, rear main's in, cam's in, timing set's in. Rod piston assemblies are in. Everything rotates over nicely. It's time to do some arts and crafts.
Well, a couple of hours of paint later, and getting the final accessories and outside bits and pieces attached to that car, or that motor, and it was ready to rock and roll. It has now gone back in that car. Break-in performed phenomenally. Maintains temperature, runs like a sewing machine. Everything you could want out of an old school inline 6 Ford motor. Pretty cool machine, and it is back to its owner. Huge thank you to Bob McVeigh for the machining and all of the hard work he put into that, finding us our bits and pieces. There's not a lot of people building those first gen inline 6 Ford motors anymore. It's not easy to get parts for, and it was not fun for him to find those parts. It's definitely not part of his business. You guys pay attention to Bob. He does a lot of hot rod stuff, not so much on the inline 6 stock stuff. So huge thank you for him for doing everything he did for us, for getting that done. Motor's back in one piece, painted, beautiful Ford blue, and back in the car, and the car is now on the road for the first time in years. Ended up being a situation where somebody else had already been in that motor in the not too distant past, and had done some machining, but it wasn't up to snuff. Still had a terrible amount of oil leaks, still had all kinds of other problems. When we got our hands on it, it was already 30 over. The initial thought was the fact that the motor had been original in stock, but that didn't end up being the case. But just because it's been rebuilt doesn't mean it's been rebuilt right. But now it runs like a sewing machine and everything's good to go. So there you go, folks. Thanks for being here. We appreciate it. On to the next thing. Got a few projects hanging around the shop. Who knows what you'll see next, but we'll bring it to you whenever we possibly can. Like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. We'll see you on the next one, folks. Take care. Nice ride.